Talk about how far you've come. Last year you're on the scout team. You began this season at nose guard. Now all of a sudden you're making an impact at defensive tackle.
Yes, sir. I mean, great question. Last year I was nose guard. I was very blessed to be able to experience, Biscuit and Landon in that position. Just watching, learning last year throughout the season, and traveling with them this year. Just take as many opportunities as possible. Every time I got out there for nose, just trying to do as best I can. And I got the text, got the call that I needed to move over, and I was like, okay, let's do it, and take advantage of the opportunity. I'm very blessed of what happens, and I'm just going to keep rolling it, keep working, and just do the best I can for my team.
What position did you play in high school?
I played defensive tackle. It's kind of the same. We ran a 4-3-4, I'm pretty sure, at Lake Travis High School back down in Austin, Texas, and it was a little similar, but the way we run defense is a little different. But it's been an easy adjustment.
So you put a lot of effort into learning how to become a nose guard, and then you get switched to tackle. Is there a big change in terms of the fundamentals, the technique, or is there a lot of carryover from one to the other?
That's a good question. Coach Hall teaches us all the same safe movements. He emphasizes that a lot. With the way our steps, our strikes, it's all universal. A little bit, maybe sudden change, maybe a different guy that you have to go out against, but overall it's the same. It's just how hard you can play at that certain position.
So you mentioned Biscuit and Landon. Last year you were at the nose guard position. That must have been incredible to watch those two guys operate, especially Biscuit played at such a high level at all times. He was just non-stop. That's what made him so good. He was undersized, but he was relentless. He played with incredible leverage. Can you talk about learning from those two guys who are, tip top?
Absolutely. I mean, the culture here at Navy is, next to none. I mean, we work hard, we do extra work, we run to the ball, and that's just the small things. And watching that and just learning and just indulging in that throughout the season last year as a freshman made me want to understand, okay, what can I do to put my name out there and be the best version of myself when my opportunity comes. And so watching Biscuit, watching Landon, being in his hip pocket, just trying to learn as much as I can with him, that's been a great opportunity and blessing.
What do you think you showed the coaching staff throughout this season that made them think, you know what, let's try Griff over here at D tackle and see what he can do?
It's a hard question to answer personally. I mean, I just keep doing the same thing every day, compound interest, just doing extra work when everyone else is going out and doing something different, just trying to be a little different than the typical population, learning from other people, asking questions, and just doing the small things that really add up to a lot in the future. What
do you think you bring to the table? What are your attributes?
I believe that I bring a good energy. I bring positivity. I try to hold our values and our values to Navy to a high standard, and just try to be the best person I can for each one. And if someone needs a question answered, I can be there. Try to be 100% on the playbook and not mess up on there. So
I think the last two games since you've been moved to tackle and gotten the starts, made some plays. I know for sure I saw a tackle behind the line of scrimmage last week, I believe. Are you surprised how well you're doing so quickly?
No, sir. I mean, when you get thrown in there, you can't stutter, and you just got to go out there and play the sport that you love. I mean, Coach Volker tells us every practice, when you're out there, you're a starter, and you can't let that be bigger than what it is. Go play the football game that you love. Just go have fun, and when things happen like that, opportunities come around. I mean, just go make it happen.
So Coach Hall gets praised from Coach Volker, from Coach Newberry about what he does with the D-line, and when you look at the players he's developed, Jacob Busick and Justin Reed at end, Landon Robinson and Biscuit Bernard at nose guard, Clay Cromwell at D tackle. He knows how to get these guys to come along. Can you talk about learning from a guy like that who played the position?
Absolutely. I mean, Coach Hall has been a huge blessing in my life. I love the way that he coaches. I love how invested he is with us. He treats us like family. He pushes us hard, which is what we need. I wouldn't want to coach any other way. To be aggressive and be fundamental and be precise and sound. And that's how I think he develops these players, is that he treats them like family, but also holds them to a high standard and consistently goes after them every single practice, wanting the best from them. And I think I haven't seen that dwindle once. He's the best D-line coach I've ever had. And I'm not saying I haven't had good ones, but the way that he teaches us, the way that he cares, and the way that he performs his job to make our job the best, the easiest as possible and the most efficient, is next to none.
I wanted to talk about the D tackle position. Griff is the fourth different player you've started at the position. We started with Kendall Whiteside, gave Tyler Narayan a chance, and then you went with Matt Reyes, and now Griff. Does that mean that it's a position of concern?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's every day when the guys come out here, it's an interview, and that's been a good problem to have at that defensive tackle position. Just being able to have guys that we can get in and rotate and be able to play well for us. But it's all about practice, and the guys who shows it, in practice, and wins that interview are the guys that get the opportunity to get out there on Saturday and play football.
So they're all relatively younger guys. So do you feel confident in, I know Griff has got the job right now, but do you still feel confident in Kendall, Reyes, and I don't know where you're playing now, Ryan, now. Is he still at tackle or is he at nose guard?
Well, Tyler's switching back and forth like defensive end and defensive tackle. He's like a swing guy. I mean, in our defense, the defensive end and the defensive tackle, can be seen as being interchangeable. It's just that the defensive end is more of a pass rushing type of guy. But in our scheme, those two guys, the responsibilities containing the quarterback, working inside to an A gap, things like that, it's the same.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because I asked Coach Volker about this, and the exact question is do you cross crane the tackles and the nose guards? And he said stuff like 3 technique or whatever. When you talk about the D tackle, what are we talking about? What is the difference? The nose guards usually head up on the center, but I guess sometimes they shade.
Yeah.
But can you explain to us what the D tackle in Navy system, what his assignment is?
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. It can be seen as interchangeable, but you like to have a nose guard as a guy, who is going to play, either over the center or he's going to play a 2-eye and sometimes even a 3, When
we say 2-eye, what do we mean?
Inside shoulder of the offensive guard.
Okay.
Yeah, inside shoulder of the offensive guard. But our defensive tackles, we line those guys in 4 eyes. We'll line them sometimes in 5 techniques, to rush the passer a little bit. So really, that's really the difference. The defensive tackles can be more of a contained piece, into the boundary, those types of things. The defensive tackle is the guy who do a lot of the slanting, whether it's inside or whether he's angling outside. The nose guard primarily just works within that box from tackle to tackle.
Right. So what has Griffen Willis done to lead you to say, because he was at nose guard, and for you to say, hey, let's give him a shot at tackle?
Yeah, well, it's just practice. I can even go back, earlier than that, over the off-season training over the summertime, always getting great reports. I mean, he's changed his body around. He's getting faster. He's getting stronger, and at the end of the day, we want to get our best guys, out on the field together at the same time, and during the bye week, earlier on, I want to see if he can learn it, if he can pick it up, and he picked it up just like that, and so we gave him a shot, and he's making the most of it right now.
So what do you feel he brings to the table? What are his attributes? I mean, he's not big like Landon, or even he doesn't have even Brisket is, even though he's shorter, is that solid. I mean, he's a different body type.
Yeah. He's a very smart football player. He has really good feet, plays with good leverage. He's still learning how to play defensive line. He's relatively young, but he's really good in the meeting room. Asking questions, making sure that he's crystal clear on the things that we want to get done out there. He studies it, and so when he does that, he gets results that he wants out in the football field, and he's been really good for us, at that position.
So the last 2 games that he's been starting, he's made some plays. I've seen him in the backfield. I've seen him making tackles. Are you surprised that he's, making plays so quickly?
No, I'm not, because that's what he does out here in practice, and that's the one thing we talk about in our room. Like you're going to play, how you practice, right? So when you get out and you practice, right, you taking game snaps while you're out there, and that's what he does, and that's why he's getting the results on the game field.
What can he still get better at? He's still a young guy. I'm sure he's nowhere near his season.
Right. Oh, no, nowhere near it. And it's the one thing, him and along with the other guys, is just working that transition pass rush, being able to convert, when they get high hats from the offensive line on first and second down situations when normally they may be run, but when you get high hats, just being able to use your hands and transitioning so we can get some interior push on the QB.
So you don't move a backup nose guard out to tackle if you don't have someone else who can be the backup nose guard. Xavier Arrington seems to have stepped up I specifically saw him at South Florida making some plays, and we talked to Coach Volker afterwards, and he said he didn't look out of place out there. What are you saying about young Xavier?
Well, he's working. He's young. He's still learning. Learning how to practice our style. I mean, it's there, but he's not as consistent with it. He's working on it. But he's a guy who has a lot of potential at nose guard. Just quick feet, has low center of gravity. Being able to play underneath the center and get it underneath some of the bigger guys. Taller offensive linemen that's in our league. And he has some pop. He has strong hips, heavy-handed, so I'm really excited about him. He's just a freshman, got a lot of football to play, a lot of room to grow.
So with the situation at tackle, because you have multiple guys, are you rotating them more during the game, or is Whiteside still getting game reps, or is Reyes? I don't imagine he's taking every snap, so Griffen all of a sudden. No,
it's been times this year where we've been fortunate enough to play eight guys,
really?
on the D line,
Okay.
so which we haven't been able to do that, in years past. So it's been good, and it's a testament to the guys that knowing that they're one play away from being a starter, and when they are out there on the field, they are expected to perform, as a starter, and that's the mentality that the guys have in the room.
Right. And last but not least, Justin Reed went out early in the last game, and Crane LaFont had to play the most snaps he's ever played. How did he do?
He left a lot of meat out there on the bone. That's the saying around here, when there's always room to be able to improve. He did some good things out there, and there's a lot of things that just like everybody out there on Saturday that we got to be able to improve at. He understands it. He realizes it. We watched the tape, and we're working out here this week during the bye week to get better. At some mistakes that we might have made out there, whether it's from a scheme standpoint or fundamental. But the mind space, like we had a really good practice here today, and the mentality is there for the guys during this bye week to be able to get better.